Nicole,
Hi.
hey,
Hi.
how are you,
Oh my
girl?
gosh. You know I want to cry now because I haven't seen you in so long.
I know it's been so
I
long.
know.
How are you? You look beautiful.
Thank you. You
Come
do
on,
too, as always.
thank you. Face is on, painted, hair is
You
laid.
know, I mean, I wasn't about to get on here with you of all people and not look together.
You look so good.
Thank
So
you.
beautiful. I'm so
Thank
happy
you.
to see you, even though it's via social media. But thank you so much for joining me tonight. And I know that you have a ton of things that you could be doing as well as everyone that's
Mhm.
joining us live. So thank you everyone for tuning in. Thank you, Nicole, for your time. First things
For
first, are you
sure.
drinking anything tonight?
Am I drinking?
Yes.
Oh yeah, girl, I got a little bit of wine. I mean,
Okay. Okay. You're drinking a
yes.
white wine. I'm drinking a sparkling rosé. So cheers to joining me on
Cheers.
Cocktails with Fabulous Friends.
For sure.
Mm, so good.
I still got my little thing on the wine glass. My little receipt. Okay.
Oh.
Okay. As you can see, I
um,
buy them single and not in a box.
I see. I see. So first of all, you're in Atlanta right now, right?
Yes. I've been here since what, 2018, December 2018.
Yes. So we're gonna get back to the big move, back to Atlanta a little bit later on. But I first want to start off by letting everybody know that, like, Nicole, I feel like we've known each other for about a decade now. Like,
Oh
I,
my gosh.
I was back with you doing your Necole Bitchie days. Okay, so let's start
Yo,
there.
yeah, let's start there because I remember coming to Henry Bendel's to get you to do my makeup and you were working at the Mac counter. And I'd be like, where? First of all, I had to find you, and I found out you worked at Henry Bendel, and I was coming to get my makeup done at the Mac counter, and then we started working together. You helped me put together my look that became my signature Necole Bitchie branded look, and we
Yeah,
rode out for like 5 or 6 years.
girl, we were like, I mean, it started there, but then as your personal brand started to grow, I remember like you would be doing press stops in Chicago and traveling to LA and Atlanta. And I just, I started to travel with you and really, help to make sure that your look became not only like part of your brand, but that it was consistent. And that
For
is such a
sure.
vital part of building a brand, whether you're a blogger, a celebrity, whatnot, is to be consistently together, right?
For
Um,
sure. You know what's so funny about that? I feel like I had a concept of personal branding before it was popular to be a personal brand. And I got so much slack for it. Like, who is this blogger, out showing her face, being at events, having a look?
yeah,
Who does she think she is?
yeah.
And look where we are nowadays, where it's a thing to have a personal brand. It's so important to have your own personal brand. So,
Correct. And to have a look that is your own, right? That sets you apart from everybody else. And I've seen the growth and the change in your image as you change your brand. And so before we kind of get to xoNecole and like who we know to be Necole Kane today, I just kind of want to still go back to the Necole Bitchie days and just talk about like how unhappy you were during that time. And I'm not going to say anything that you haven't already spoken
right.
about, but I just remember us, we spent a lot of time together and intimate moments. I just remember like being a part of your daily routine and you were just unhappy. You were sad. You were depressed at times. You were like chained to your computer because at this point, I think you had moved to LA, and so you had to make sure that the site was up and running for on New York time, and you had no personal life. You were just
At
super
all. What's so funny is you would do my makeup, but what was I doing while you were doing my makeup? I was normally on my computer while she was doing my makeup with my laptop in my lap, trying to blog the latest news. Like, how crazy is that? And what's so crazy is I look at now when I get my makeup done, it's almost like going to the spa for me. You know what I mean? I'm going through a transformation, and you really put a lot into your work. Like you spray things. It makes us feel um, just pampered. But I couldn't even take in that moment of being pampered and transformed during this time. I had my gossip blog because of the work, you know. So it's wild to think about. But yeah, I was very unhappy. Didn't have a life. It, I mean, 24/7 news cycle, and I had to be on it. I mean, that's the only reason why I probably my site grew as big as it did, because I sacrificed my personal life. I sacrificed time with friends, weddings, baby showers, all of those things to really grow the brand. And yeah, I just wasn't fulfilled while doing it.
Yeah. So I feel like a lot of people are in this moment of like self awakening, heightened self awareness. And, you know, I think people are really ready to release things, experiences, relationships that no longer serve them. So can you talk about like what was the moment that everything kind of ticked for you and you said, I'm not doing this anymore. Like I want to change my life. I want to be happier. I want to feel fulfilled. I want to live with more intent. What was that moment for you?
Um, I'm not sure. I think I went to a wedding with a friend, and it was for like a celebrity publicist. So she had celebrity clientele there, but my friend had actually invited me to the wedding because it was in Jamaica. And so it was supposed to be a time for us to just vacation, girl, like just chill out. But I, you know, every festivity that I went to that weekend, I could feel the room shift every time I walked in the room.
Mm,
Um, and then when I returned back home to New York, my phone is blowing up and it's my friend. And she's like, this person and that person was there. They want to make sure that you don't tell, you know, you don't blog about this or that. And I didn't see any of this stuff that, you know, they were worried about. And I was just thinking, I was in Jamaica just trying to relax and have a good time. And every time I stepped in the room, people felt like I was going to tell their business, you know?
mm,
And I just thought about that a lot. Like, who, I didn't want to live my life as the elephant in the room. I think with my parents passing so early, they were both 41 and 42. I thought about my legacy a lot as the brand grew. Like, I love that I found success, but a part of me didn't want that to be my legacy. And so that it was almost like a tug of war. Like, I'm happy that everyone knows my name, and I'm this famous blogger. I'm flying around the world. Everyone has to get an interview with me and know me. But I'm not, that's not, if I was to lay my head down today, that's not what I want people at my funeral saying about me. And so that was the things that were like just constantly going through my head. And I was like, I have to make a shift. I have to go into a more purpose filled life, one that I'm a brand that I'm proud of and happy about and happy to tell people. Like when people would say, what do you do? I'd
mm.
like be so embarrassed and not want to tell them. I'm like,
I
I
remember
want
you
to
would kind of
do.
pause. You would pause like,
Yeah. And I'm like, I want to do something I'm proud of. You know what I mean? My parents would have been proud of, my grandmother would have been proud of. So it was a combination of things.
so, you know, so you decided to shut down that site. And in the interim, while you were kind of figuring out like what it is that you wanted to do, you know, all the money and the income and the ads that people were placing, like obviously there was a great financial setback from like leaving that site behind. So what was the time like that period in between starting xoNecole and leaving Necole Bitchie like? Because one thing that I feel like stops a lot of people from like leaving behind stability to move
Hmm.
forward what they want to do in terms of like their dreams is the financial risk, right? And so you can't get a big reward without a big risk. A big risk. So what was that interim period like for you?
Yeah. Well, first I want to say this because I feel like I'd rather suffer for a moment, a short period of time, than suffer for a lifetime because I'm living a life that's not meant for me or that I've outgrown or I'm fulfilled with. And so um, I left Necole Bitchie in July 2015, and then I launched xoNecole in August 2015. So it was about a 6-week difference. And I jumped straight into launching xoNecole because I felt like if I did something really fast that I'd keep the audience. But like a lot of my audience wasn't ready to elevate like that. Not only that, but if you're coming from a gossip blogger and you're telling everybody I'm starting an empowering platform, no one's going to believe you. They're going to feel like it's short term, like it's just a stage you're going through. You're going to revert back once the money isn't coming in. And so I had so much to prove on so many fronts. To run a site like xoNecole, you have to live and breathe. You have to be that example. So I couldn't be a shitty person and run an empowerment site. So I had to go through a transformation. Not saying I was a shitty person as Necole Bitchie, but but I wasn't the person I am now. But I had to transform myself while I was transforming my site. But it was rough. I did all this work to create the content for the site and what I wanted the site to be, but I didn't think about how the site would make money. So I put all these writers in place and the content in place, but I didn't have a sales team in place to help me bring in money. And so money was going out really quickly and none was coming in. Not a dime was coming in. Yeah. And I went through my savings fairly quickly. I started borrowing from people. I mean, before I knew it, I was in 6-figure debt from running or starting this new site. So I went from making all this money to within months, I'm in the negative.
Wow. I mean, I've been there because when I left my high-paying, management job to start to really put all of my time and my energy into my freelance makeup career, I had my cushion. I had my number that I mentally said, okay, well, once I save this money, I'm gonna be ready, right? So I had that money, and yeah, my freelance jobs were popping, and then I hit a moment where I wasn't getting the type of jobs that I had been getting for a while. And so you start running through that savings. And that part, it's a scary moment because the bills don't stop. No matter where you live in this world, the bills don't stop. The rent's got to be paid on the first. And that's a really scary time to be in. But I feel like one thing that we both have in common is that we refuse at that moment in our lives to live without fear. Like, we weren't turning back to go back to working.
Oh, yeah.
Doing anything that professionally no longer served us and that we didn't want to do. So even in those like really hard moments where you saw your money was being depleted, things were not popping off how you wanted them to, what was inside of you that caused you to like keep pushing forward, to not look back and turn back to what, once made you unhappy?
What's that quote? You never go back to what broke you. Like I was never I would go sleep on my aunt's couch before I would go back to that lifestyle. The thing is, when I was about to go through my transformation from Necole Bitchie to xoNecole, I moved to Arizona. So I moved away from entertainment capitals, LA and New York. Let me go somewhere where it's called isolation for preparation, or some people say isolation for elevation. I had to isolate myself so that I could prepare myself for my next level in my next chapter.
Because when I went for moving to Arizona, I was like, Arizona? What you going to Arizona?
Everybody was like, how are you going to stay relevant? But I wasn't worried about staying relevant because first of all, I want to be relevant for the right reasons. One, but I went out to Arizona, and once you experience peace, you can never go back to chaos. And I had so much peace out there. Like, I lived a very normal life. Everyone that met me out there had no idea about this big blogger life that I was living before then. And I saw how normal, like sometimes you get out of touch when you get in the entertainment industry. I saw how normal people live. Like, you know what I mean? We lived in a very warped world in the entertainment industry. So we sometimes lose touch of like what normal life can be like. So, I don't know. I was out there and I was trying to figure it out, but I was also okay with if this site doesn't work out, I'm okay with shifting into another career. I started studying for a nutrition certificate and I think it was a personal trainer certificate, life coaching. Like I was completely fine with transitioning into another part of my life if that's what God wanted for me. And I think sometimes when we leave a career or a job that we had this title that's so prestigious, that I feel like most of our suffering comes more from what other people will say or think about us than, us actually leaving the job.
Yeah.
And so I think when I got to a place in my life, because when I left my site originally and that title was gone, I didn't know who I was outside of Necole Bitchie. That was my life. I was completely validated by being that person, that character. And so I
Yeah.
had to learn who Necole Kane was. And I
Yeah.
stayed in Arizona for 2.5 years. A lot of people don't know I was out there almost 3 years. But I had to go out there to prepare for this chapter of my life, which is my website was acquired 2 years after I started. Like, who has a website acquired 2 years after they started? You know what I mean? So,
Bye, Will Packer.
by Will Packer. Yeah. So it all kind of, I followed God's lead and I trusted he was not going to leave me hanging. That parachute was going to open
Yeah.
and it opened.
So going back to like your stint in Arizona and you started to like do the self work, what was that time like? Because yes, you got into nutrition, you started to, that's when like
Compete.
fitness competition,
Hmm.
interest started. But what was that internal work like? Like, were you reading books? Were you meditating? What were you
I,
doing to kind of put yourself back together?
Everything. I started competing in fitness competitions, and so I was getting up every day listening to podcasts while on the treadmill or motivational speeches. I was reading a lot of books. I got into crystals, meditation, energy healing. What is it called? Reiki,
Right.
um Reiki healing, every type of healing. Look, chakra balancing. Like,
And that is so, Nicole, that is so different from who you were. There would be times you wouldn't even eat all day. I'd be like, Nicole, have you eaten today? No, I haven't eaten. Like your life internally, it literally mirrored what your external life looked like. So to see you move to Arizona and to really focus on who you are internally and who you wanted to be and the work that you needed to do, it was not only inspiring, but it made me like happy for you because the last thing that you want to do is see someone that you love and care about, not
right.
even just professionally, like you my girl, you know what I'm saying? But
Yeah,
to
for sure.
see you flourish and to see your life move in a positive direction. Like I was so happy for you in those moments. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I really came home to myself, I guess is the word, a great way to say it. And um yeah, it was just, think about my transition. Right now I'm the person that I used to dream about being in my 20s. You know what I mean? I've become the woman I've always wanted to be. And so, but I had to bet on myself and I took the chance. So now I'm here talking to y'all.
And it worked. And that's like
Yeah.
that's one of my favorite mantras is to take a chance on yourself. Like I feel like there are
Hmm.
so many people out in the world right now that have these dreams and these visions for themselves, self included. I have so many other visions for myself outside of being a makeup artist. That is how everyone knows me, but that does not define who Porsche is.
I know
I have
that's
so
right.
many other talents, so many things that I'm interested in. And one day I will no longer be a makeup artist. I will be doing other creative things. And so I guess my next question to you is how did you know what you wanted your xoNecole brand to be like? Because if anyone who is unfamiliar with the site, which would be insane, you talk about wellness, you talk about real life experiences, you have professional, personal relationship tips and advice. Like, how did you even come into the realm of knowing what you wanted this next phase of your site to be like?
I think being in a airport, I think at the time, and I was looking at magazines. It used to be, I used to travel a lot, and my thing was to pick up like 3 or 4 magazines from the newsstand. That was my thing, and read it on the airplane. But I was looking around and I was like, there ain't no black women that look like me on these magazines. I started like noticing that. And then I started thinking like, okay, at the time we were in a very celebrity obsessed culture. So every single website you would go to that was geared towards black women had celebrities all over it. And I'm like, well, if I had a sister that was 18 or a younger cousin or something, where is she going to get relationship advice, beauty, hair? Like, where is she going to learn about her vagina, like feminine wellness, and talk to other women about these type of things? And I couldn't think of a site. And my thing is, when you see a void, fill it. I was like, I'm about to make, like at the time, a black version of Cosmo, Glamour, etc. But now when these women log into the site, they're going to see faces that look like them.
Yeah.
And so that's where the inspiration for the site came from. Just something I knew I needed in my 20s when I was trying to find my way and going into my 30s. That's what I created.
And so what was the process like? Because you have the women that work with you on the site. Like, what was the process like of you selecting the women that would be your tribe, you know?
Um, I spent weeks going around the internet, really looking for great writers that, like, at the time there was a lot of personal bloggers. So I was looking for writers with a certain voice that was very conversational. I wanted when people come to the site that the articles read like your homegirl talking to you.
That's
So, I mean,
exactly what it feels like. Like the
yes,
headline is like, girl, whatever. But it literally feels like something that me and my best friend or me and my sister will be talking about. It literally lures you in because it's very realistic, and you can
mm-hmm,
tell as a site that is geared towards women of color that there are women of color, especially black women, that are writing to us because no one else can speak to us or for us but us. And I
for
think that that's
sure. Because our workplace experiences are different, our relationship dynamics are different than what you might see on, like I said, again, a Cosmo or Glamour. And that's why I felt it was very important. And I had to take a risk because what you will find on a lot of sites, black women lifestyle sites, is they still do a lot of celebrity news because that's what brings the views in or to grab attention. And I was like, we can't really cover celebs unless there's a a, a lifestyle angle. If what's the takeaway in this story? You know what I mean? If you're blogging about Will and Jada, it better be some takeaways in there. Like, it can't be just, oh girl, that look what happened, because
not just salacious.
exactly, it has to be a lesson that the reader is going to take away from us covering them. So we took a chance, and we don't really cover celebs unless it's in an angle that's empowering.
Okay.
But
And so
most of our stuff is straight lifestyle, straight, beauty, fashion, relationships, sex, a lot of sex on the site. Sorry, but black women love sex. Don't let them tell you we don't. Uh,
so I noticed that you all started what is called the Exo Tribe, and it's like an online community where women can talk to each other, give and take advice. Like, why did you feel that that was important to start?
I started it in January, and for me, I felt like I had all these followers on this Instagram, on xoNecole, reading the site, but I didn't know these women. Like, I didn't know them personally. I needed a way to connect with them deeper. And
Yeah.
so within our members community, I'm starting to know where, some of the members live, what they're going through personally in their relationships, and I feel a little bit more connected. I felt more disconnected before I created this tribe of women. And I mean, they come to every event. They get on Zoom. We get on Zoom calls and things. So that it just was for us to create a deeper relationship with the tribe of women that are following us.
What's the feedback that you get from women that recognize you as Nicole from xoNecole versus when you were running your gossip site? I'm sure that there's a huge difference, but what's the kind of feedback that you get from people now?
Well, what's so funny, someone in the beginning of our chat was like, oh, that's Necole Bitchie.
Yes.
When I did my 5 year, I just did a post a week ago because it was the 5th year anniversary of me leaving my gossip site. And I was like, 5 years ago today, I left Necole Bitchie. And people were like, why is it today that I'm realizing you were Necole Bitchie?
I was like 8 years old when I realized.
Right. But I changed. Look, when I left Necole Bitchie, I don't know if you guys remember, but I used to wear my hair big and curly. My hair would come into the room before I walked in the room.
Hair was fierce though.
I
Once
had
the
a
hair was
different,
done and the face
a,
was on.
a smoky eye. Like I had this very dramatic character look to me. And when I switched over and started xoNecole, I changed my whole look.
Yeah.
It's kind of like not presentable, but it's a normal look, a little soft.
But talk about why you decided to do that, because I felt like it was pretty intentional. You changing your hair from the lighter hair, big curly, excuse me, it's the rose, to the darker hair and typically more straight. Why did you do that?
I just felt like the way I used to wear my hair before, even the way I dressed, and I have a story about that, was it's almost like I was putting on a costume every day and dressing up
Okay.
as this character. So this look is more represents who I am. Another thing, because I want to say about the whole Necole Bitchie thing. When I worked in radio, like I was doing air checks because I was like, I'm gonna make it on air. Always got some big dreams. And I remember turning in my air check, and the program director, who was a man, was like, it sounds good, but your voice is a little sexy. He was like, our readership is mostly women, and you don't want them to feel like you're going to steal their man. You want them to feel like you're going to be like the girl next door, like their home girl. And so from very early on in my career, I was almost told to suppress my, whether sexuality or beauty, downplay it. And so when I started Necole Bitchie, that's how that look came about. When I first started, I looked like this. I had black hair, but everybody was like, oh, there's this blogger trying to be a model. She's trying to be a vixen, or it was all these stories. So I switched my whole look to that girl next door, big hair, very colorful clothes and doll-like. It was nothing sexy about it.
It was cuter. It was like less sexy and more like, oh, she looks so cute.
Doll-like, right. Yeah. Did all that because I was like, I want to appeal to women. I want to have this big women base. But it's crazy, the messaging and the branding and all that stuff that goes into like who you become and present yourself to people. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So when you used to live in Atlanta during the gossip blogger days, I remember you moved to New York, to LA, back to New York. And I just remember talking to you and you hated Atlanta. You were like, you were
hilarious.
I remember one time we went to Atlanta and we shot with Derek Blank's child. Okay. And the level of anxiety that you had as we were just gone for like a couple of days to shoot, it was out of this world. And so when you told me that you were moving back to Atlanta, I was like, hold on, wait, what? How did you conquer your anxiety to like literally move your business from New York to Atlanta?
Well, first of all, in 2014, I had a psychic reading, and she told me I was going to get married in Atlanta, and I clocked out. I was like, this lady don't know what she's talking about, so I don't want to hear nothing else this lady got to say, because I ain't never moving back to Atlanta. But my experience in Atlanta when I was progressing as a blogger in 2009 and 2010 I felt traumatic for me. Like people were, bloggers were blogging about me. I felt like I was in an episode of Mean Girl every time. I thought people were my friends, but they were going to the internet and posting comments and telling my business. And I had private investigators showing up at
Oh
my
my
lot.
God, I remember.
My,
I remember that.
I mean,
I remember that.
it was traumatic. So when I got the heck up out of Atlanta, I was like, Atlanta don't have to ever worry about me coming back. So it's
Yeah.
it is very weird that I've been here almost 2 years, but as a different person, I don't really have those problems. Like, running this brand, and there's so much love out here for the brand. I work around an amazing team in Atlanta. And so it's just night and day. I mean, I guess it basically proves that, like, the energy you put out, you get back. And so I was a gossip blogger in Atlanta, and I was putting out dramatic energy, so I was getting it back. But now I'm bringing a different kind of energy to the city, and so it's great.
That, yeah. Like,
Hi, Ian.
I mean, yeah, your life is it's completely different. Praise the Lord.
Completely. I cannot believe I am in Atlanta. I
I
cannot
can't
believe it. So,
get
but
either.
it's been treating me well. I mean, we launched, an event out here called Pajamas and Lipstick, a girls' night in series. We launched a big festival out here called Elevate Her. We're having an even bigger festival next year, God willing, if, the pandemic pans itself out,
Yeah.
in June, and that I'm planning now, a year in advance. So I'm just like, God came through, girl. God came through. He said, you
Always.
gonna, if you just listen to me and trust your gut and do this thing, I promise I got you. And so here we are.
So talk about elevate her, because I feel like what I've seen, hopefully in the future I'll be fortunate enough to attend one, but I see so many women, especially Black women, that attend your event, and it just looks like this beautiful
Oh,
room, this sea of
sisterhood.
melanin, women like elevating, their self-esteem and their self-awareness, and like creating bonds and memories and relationships with people that they can probably in the future do business with. Like, I just see so many beautiful things that come out of would you call it a conference or
It's more of a festival because it was created to support Black women-owned businesses. So we put 25 Black women-owned businesses in the marketplace area, and the whole goal was for those businesses to make money. So we kept the ticket prices very low. The businesses in 4 hours made about 35, 40 grand between the 25. So they were in there spending money. But we also had henna, we had readings, we had panels. It was just a really fun time. And for me, the COO and CEO of Will Packer Media, which was Will Packer and another man that's named Alex, they came and they got to see my audience, like, for the first time in the flesh, because they couldn't come to the girls' night. And I just felt like for the first time they got it. Like, I feel like they got me before, but that was the first time I felt like they got it. You know what I mean? And that was like a very proud moment for me.
that's the that's it looks so amazing. Like, I wish that, I mean, I'm sure that you'll get to this point where you travel around and do it in different cities, but other cities need that too, Nicole. Okay,
I
keep that
know,
in mind.
right?
Keep
Well,
that in mind.
y'all love to work a sister, you know. I'm trying to have kids. I'm trying to have babies and families and stuff. Like,
So I want to talk about like your daily wellness practices. Like,
mhm.
what has your what has your time of pouring into yourself been like during before and during the pandemic been like? Like, what are things that you do to kind of keep yourself well, mentally, spiritually, physically, to keep yourself together?
Well, I want to say this because I had a meltdown in May. I call that meltdown May. It was the last week of April and it went throughout some of May. So some of my staff couldn't reach me. I had my do not disturb on, my away message. And I had planned to leave my website in September. I was like, in September, I'm done. I'm going to move on to something else. I'm just, because my life had ended up being all work. And I was like, I didn't leave one brand to get to a place where I feel it's almost like I felt like I created the same chaos, but a different type of chaos in my second brand as I had in my first. It's almost like you leave a relationship, get in another one just to create the same type of chaos. And when I really dug deep, I realized, and this is a case for I feel like a lot of Black women, we don't have pleasure in our lives. And I have to explain pleasure is like just even allowing yourself to enjoy something. It's like sometimes we're eating food, but are we enjoying it? You know, we have candles lit, but are we actually taking in the scent? And I was on a hamster wheel. It was almost like I wasn't feeling, touching anything. As a Black woman, I felt like pleasure had to be earned. So I had to work a certain amount of hours and reach a certain amount of milestones to even get a vacation. And then that was a week of pleasure, and then you go back to work. You know what I mean? And so I started implementing pleasure in every single thing I did, because even in my wellness journey, yeah, I was doing yoga, meditating, eating well, but was I enjoying doing any of that stuff?
Or was
No.
it just like checking off, like, okay, did that, did that, did that?
Did that, and now I'm well. You know what I mean? And so I made it a daily practice to have pleasure in my life, to actually sit down without talking on the phone or being distracted and eat my food and actually enjoy it and taste it. I light candles as soon as I wake up. Like I got one in each room, like, and I take in the scents, you know. And it's just it's really changed like everything. So I
Let
had
me
to
just
take
stop
what.
you for let me stop you for there for one quick second. I feel like that is such an important point that a lot of people should really try to focus on implementing into their lives, are
Hmm.
just simple pleasures in the morning.
Yeah.
Like how you start the tone, how you set the tone of the day is kind of how all of the dominoes will fall, right? So in the morning, you wake up. I'm sure you wake up with gratitude. You set your
Yeah.
candle.
Yeah, I might journal.
Yes.
I have your client, Audra Day. Her song "Rise Up" is my alarm. So I wake
Oh,
up to the song "Rise Up." You know what I mean? And
yeah.
it sets the tone for the day. So yeah, just those things: getting out of bed, lighting my candles, gratitude, journaling, eat breakfast. Remember, you know, when you're in the entertainment industry, you might go a whole day and not eat until 7 at night or 8 at night. But now I make sure I eat breakfast, drink water. I might work out. I have a ritual and morning routine before I even plug into my day, because once you plug into your email, social media, you've given your day away to
Yeah.
everyone else. So I
Yeah.
try to take that time to pour into me first.
I love that, like enjoying the simple pleasures of your day. And I know that, like, I'm not a mother yet, and I know neither are you. And so for women who are wives or in
Whew.
relationships and are mothers, like I know that, you know, that taking those moments for themselves is that much more difficult, because so much of your day is also devoted to caring for other people. But I feel like it's so important to pour into yourself first as much as you possibly can before you pour into anybody else. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And you have to learn to pour in yourself first, so that when you do add those elements, whether it's kids, a husband, you know how to pour into you first, even if it means waking up a few hours early. I know my day is probably going to have to start at 3 or 4 in the morning once I get a husband and kids, just so that I can keep this ritual up. But it's going to be important for me to do this to be the best wife I can be, or the best mom to my kids. I can't just roll over and give them my day without giving it to myself first.
Yeah. So you talked just a second ago about your meltdown May. How did you
Hmm.
come back from that to like not leaving your site and continuously like pushing forward with your media?
A lot of oh my gosh, a lot of journaling. A lot of, because it's one of those things where it's like, what do you want your life to look like? What do you want your career to look like? And so what I did, I future journaled. I wrote mission for my life, and I wrote it in present tense. So it said, I am living in a airy, however many room place. I have this like safe, a woman cave. I wake up in the morning and I hear this. I'm working this job doing this, like, and I said everything in present tense. You know, my husband greets me in this way, like my kids are this, like their names are, and
Speaking it into existence.
speaking everything into existence. I just wrote out exactly what I wanted my life to look like in 3 years. And then that helped me figure out what I would need to do in my actually company. I'm actually going to transition into chief creative officer. Right now, I'm editor in chief, but it made me realize what I need to do on a daily basis to be happy within my position and within my company. And so once I did that, like, I was good. Like, things started shifting for sure, and me allowing myself to pour into my personal life a little bit more too, you know, and just like I said, enjoy myself and have a well balanced life.
So what are you doing to have a personal life? Because I remember the days when
Mm-hmm.
and have one. So what is your personal life? I mean, without getting all into your business in the
Yeah.
public, but what are things that you're doing now? Like, are you going? I mean, obviously pre-pandemic. What was the evolution of Nicole's personal life? What was that looking like?
Well, I'm definitely I definitely am dating. I'm allowing myself to date and
I'm gonna
experience
call you
people.
after this.
You're so silly. I'm allowing myself to experience people and connect with people deeper. You know what I mean? When I go and spend time with someone, like, work cuts off. It's the phone, the ringer's off, the do not disturb. I'm giving you all of me, you know, not just showing up and giving you half of my attention. And so that has like helped a lot, you know. During the pandemic, my business manager kept calling me because he wanted me to do my estate planning. And that means, like, you know, a living will, who's going to take care of me if something were to happen, who's going to get my assets. And it made me really sad because for someone who doesn't have her parents in her life, her grandparents, like, you know, my grandparents and parents are all have passed on. I
Yeah.
couldn't really think of anyone outside of my sister, you know, and I don't want to put that burden on her. And it made me sad. And I was like, you need to create a family of your own. You need to focus. You know that's something that you desire and want, and you deserve it. So start
Yeah.
focusing on it, because it can't
That
come
part
to you if
again.
you
Say that part again.
what part? What part?
The things that you deserve, like we
You deserve.
deserve. You
I
know.
was like, you deserve to be in a happy relationship. You deserve to have a loving husband. You deserve to have kids in your own family. And to do that, you have to dedicate time to be vulnerable, because dating ain't easy. And dating in a pandemic, honey,
Child,
honey,
child.
dating in a pandemic. Oh my God. Try dating in a pandemic, and then try dating while protests are going on, because, you know, all of our mental is just all over the place. Like, you don't know what they're going through. You're going through things. So it's been a battle for sure.
Yeah. Well, I'm happy to hear that, like, you're putting your personal happiness and success as an additional priority, and I feel like that's something that can be very challenging to balance as a
Yeah.
career woman, self included. I've had to start being, more intentional with what I think about and like what I pray about, because the career is cute, the career is good, the personal travels are good, the friendships are great, but it's like there's also this other aspect of my life that when I was younger, I thought that I would have already fulfilled at this point.
Hmm.
And that part is still being developed. You know what I mean? And so I just feel like it's super important to be intentional with your thoughts, to be and make manifest, right? So what, like you said in your journaling, how you write in present tense what it is that you want to attain in the future, but you speak it into existence as if you already have it, as if it's already a part of your daily life. And I feel like that's such a big gem, is to talk like you've already got it. You know?
Yeah, and I want to say this, and I don't want to say it sound, and the fact that I want to say, I don't want to say it sound arrogant. Why do we do that as Black women? Like, you know, try to do a humble brag, but God has bigger plans for me than what people have seen already. And
Mhm.
it's hard for me to date because he has to be ready for where I'm about to go. And a
Say it again.
lot of
Say it again.
because I'm not dimming my light. I'm not repressing who I am, or or making myself smaller just to make him feel better.
Yeah.
Like he needs to come into this knowing that my light is shining bright and it's gonna just get brighter. And he can
Correct.
walk with me
Yeah.
or
Beside me, we can
yes,
walk together beside each other.
yes, exactly. And it took me, I turned 40 in September. It took me 40 years to get to this place where I can say that about myself. For years, people would give me a compliment and I couldn't accept the compliment. Or someone would tell me how great they thought I was. And oh, not anymore.
Yeah.
And I think you have to realize your light and how amazing you are before someone else can come into your life and recognize that and love you the way you love yourself.
True. A whole gym. A whole gym.
Seriously.
I feel like so often successful women, successful black women, when it comes to dating, it can be challenging because you want, depending on if you see yourself as like an alpha woman or if you're just a successful woman in your own right, to meet someone that you feel like you all are equally yoked, even outside of spirituality, can sometimes be challenging, right? Like I've met men in the past and been on dates where I was like hooked up, and it's like once they see my lifestyle and the things that I do, it's like they kind of fall back, and it's like, but you know what? I know that it's them and not me, and that we're just not meant to be together because I truly believe for every person out there that your mate will not only see something and say something, but like they'll get it. It
Yeah,
won't
for
be
sure.
they're intimidated by who you are, by your power, by your love for yourself, how you lift up yourself, revering yourself as a goddess. Like they will see that in you too. And I think that that's the truly important part when you talk about like selecting a partner is that the person that you partner with like gets you and does not want you to be anything less than who you are destined to be, you know?
Yeah, and I'm definitely looking for someone who honors me in the way that I honor myself. I spent a lot of time just in investing in being a high value woman. Like I just knew the type of woman I wanted to be. When I was in my 20s, I was a hot ass mess. But I knew once I got to this point in my life what type of woman I wanted to be, how spiritually and self-aware I wanted to be and grounded and how mentally, and so you just keep dating until you find that one that you're equally yoked with. So
Yeah. So how, like, as you just said that you have kind of transitioned into being like a high value woman and how you treat yourself, how you view yourself, and how you live your life, how has that affected what and how you want your legacy to be as Nicole, as currently as Nicole Kane, future
hmm
Nicole, fill in the blank, whatever your
um
new life is going to be one day.
I almost feel like and I might get shocked, but I almost feel like I've my legacy is there, stamped. You know, it is. I do feel like, unless I do, who knows what I'm going to do in the next 10 or 20 years, but I just feel like the way I left my old site and the risk that I took made a big impact. It'll make a bigger impact when I'm no longer here. You know how that is. People don't really digest some of the things, and that's with anyone who has ever done something that's just been like, how the heck, what they had the bravery to do that. I think we celebrate their impact way more when they no longer can smell the roses. And
Right,
that's sad.
right,
But
right.
I go to sleep at night, and I sleep well, knowing what type of brand I run and that it represents who I am as a person.
Yeah,
That makes me sleep peacefully. And that's all I had ever asked for in my lifetime.
So I wanna kind of leave with this. Your following is filled with so many beautiful Black women, Black souls. Same for me. I feel like right now we're in a time where so many Black women, especially who have never been seen for who they are and for the gems and the beautiful talents that they bring to the table. They haven't been seen for like who they are and what they have. And so there are so many women who are wanting to embark on a new lane, a new
Mm-hmm.
journey to to live a life that honors themselves and their talents and like what they have been blessed to give and to do.